Welcome to The Functional Esthetician, a podcast where skin health meets whole body wellness. I'm Samantha Burtch, a licensed esthetician, owner of Skin Deep Aesthetics, author, and a doctor of functional medicine. My mission is to help you see the bigger picture because healthy skin starts from within. In each episode, we'll explore the gut-skin axis, hormones, nutrition, skincare, and wellness tools you can use to transform your skin. Welcome to the Functional Esthetician Podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Burtch. Today's special guest is Darcie Burtch. We are going to talk about trauma, NLP, and self-love. Before we get to today's interview, let me introduce Darcie. Darcie Burtch is the host of the School of Hard Knocks podcast, NLP practitioner, clinical hypnosis practitioner, and transformational coach, dedicated to helping people get unstuck from trauma and grounded in their healing. After navigating her own journey through loss, caregiving, and personal transformation, Darcie now uses her voice, story, and tools to guide others towards emotional freedom, self-leadership, and lasting change. Through her work, she creates safe, empowering spaces where real conversations happen, helping people move from survival mode into a life of clarity, confidence, and purpose. Hi, Darcie. Welcome to the Functional Esthetician Podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited for our conversation today.
Me too.
I'm going to have you start by introducing yourself. Tell us a little background of how you got started and how you got to where you are today.
So I'm a wife, a mom, a grandma. I'm a podcast host, an NLP practitioner, success coach, clinical hypnosis practitioner, the creator of the Trauma Toolbox Workshop experience. And then I'm a photographer, so I'm kind of a charcuterie.
Wow.
I do a little bit of everything. The podcast wasn't something for me that I had planned on doing, but I had walked through years of trauma in my life. And after going through compound trauma, being in a caregiving role, taking care of my dad, it was put on my heart to start sharing my story. And along came the podcast. So we just celebrated 1 year of podcasting last month.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, podcasting is definitely a labor of love.
For real, that's true.
So let's talk about trauma, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, because I feel like people hear the word trauma, but they don't really understand how it is stored in our body and how it affects our whole life.
Well, it's very interesting because before I came an NLP practitioner, I had gone through years of trauma. My first childhood memory at the age of 4 is watching my dad almost unalive my mom. My parents separated when I was 16 years old. I went into 2 different foster homes, ended up having an ectopic pregnancy. I emancipated myself and was walking to school and working 2 jobs before I was old enough to vote. I met my husband when I was 19, but in my 20s, we went through alcoholism together and fought through that. And then our big one, all of that wasn't enough, was my dad surviving a workplace shooting that happened October 3rd, 2019, that left him with a traumatic brain injury. And my husband and I took care of him here in our home for 4 years before, unfortunately, he did pass away 9.5 months ago. So I'm currently in my grief era. So carrying all of this trauma with me my whole entire life, it just was something I always pushed myself through. I was the queen of wearing the Superwoman cape. You're okay. Everything's okay. Put a smile on. Be brave. What are you going to do about it now type of thing. And then I lost all control after my dad was shot. That was something I couldn't fix. I couldn't wish for a cure, a change, hope. It had to literally take time and patience for things to happen. So I was still very numb all the way up until he passed away before I think I had this big emotional release. And in particular, I couldn't figure out why for a solid 2 months after he had passed away, I felt sick, sick to my stomach. I kept telling my husband, I feel like I'm going to throw up 10 times a day. So in February, I went through NLP. I was like, oh, so I'm harboring all of the trauma and my neurological system and my emotional system is not regulated. Okay, checks out. Makes sense why life has kind of been a roller coaster ride because I never dealt with anything before. So now I'm months into emotional and mental healing where I'm able to cope with things on a more even keel instead of allowing it to fester.
And I think what you said a few minutes ago really hit home, because women push through. We shove it down, we ignore it. We're like, I'm just going to go full force and ignore this feeling. And I feel like that right there, it's everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a big thing for us. We think the busier we keep our minds, the quicker we're going to heal through something, and that's not how it works. You know, if you jump into a river and cut your leg open, like, you can leave it a gaping hole and hope that it heals up the way that you would want it to, or you can get help and you can have it stitched and properly cared for and hope that the scar is going to be less. Slowing down during our healing and doing the uncomfortable, feeling it, allowing yourself to grieve or whatever it is that you're having that moment. And grieving is such a weird thing because it can come from all different facets. It doesn't have to be a loss, like a person. It can be a job, it can be a divorce, it can be a pet, it can be a friendship, you know, it can be the life that you thought that you were going to have. There's so many different things that we're like, well, if I don't think about it, or maybe I'll work 50 hours a week because then I'll be too busy. But then most of us know when we lay down at night, our brains are like, oh, so guess what? No sleeping. We're going to think about all the things. And it's like, But if we can just slow down and give ourselves grace and give ourselves time, the other side, what I call being grounded in healing, is a beautiful place to be.
And the uncomfortable piece, that's what we all run from.
It is. It's an uncomfortable piece. I mean, along with uncomfortable piece comes guilt.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, the first couple of times I started having fun after my dad died, I thought, how dare you? Yeah. How dare you laugh? How dare you smile? How could you be having a good time? And then that healing part kicks in and says, but your dad's having the best time ever because he's in heaven. What are you doing? Why are you torturing yourself for something you had no responsibility? And in fact, you gave your dad everything you had for the last 6 years of his life. So why are you punishing yourself again? I'm sorry. So, you know, again, it's that slowing down so your brain can catch up to what's happening.
So what is something women can do to move through that uncomfortable feeling? Should we just sit there? Should we journal? Like, what are some tools that we can use?
Well, I love talking about tools. So if you listen to my podcast, I actually created the Trauma Toolbox. Tools that I can actually use during moments of activation. I don't call it trigger because trigger is a trigger word for me because I think it's over sensationalized in our culture now. I think everybody's triggered. So it's activated for me. So it can be something that has been come up from the past. Maybe I hear one of my dad's favorite songs. Maybe it's something that I see of his or something from my past. Or it could be something happening current day. I mean, my patience sometimes isn't very good. And you're sitting at a stoplight and you're like, dude, why have you not moved yet? Like, it's been green for like an hour. Like, what's going on, you know? So in those moments, for me, I have a lot of them, but I always go to God first. God is the biggest tool in my toolbox. So God, universe, creator, however it is you're looking at it, pray, go to your Bible, have a conversation with him, get yourself centered. Music is huge. Because you're sitting in this moment, you're feeling this moment. It's okay to feel the moment, but allow it to be just that, a moment. It doesn't have to be your whole day, a weekend, a week, a month, a year, a life. We literally get stuck because we don't know how to get unstuck. So Sunday, for instance, I actually came across 2 of my dad's police reports. He was almost stabbed to death in 2012, and then he was almost shot to death in 2019. Imagine. Wow. So, you know, in my grief, I'm like, why are you reading this even? Because you know it's going to activate something. Part of me felt like it was going to make me feel closer to my dad by like doing that. And then I found myself standing in front of his urn, just sobbing, no words, because it's like, well, I know you already know what's going on. Okay, now we have the moment. So let's pull the tool. So I went to the living room, sat on the sofa, turned on Pandora music, turned on what mine is, which is Christian music. I'd listen to Brandon Lake, Hallelujah. I'd listen to Jeremy Camp, No Survivors. I'd listen to Emerson Day, No Smoke. And praise hands were up. And I was like, all right, let's go back to life. Because I'm not going to allow the things that cannot be changed to control how I live my life. I'm going to give myself the moment because we deserve to have the moment. But why stretch that moment out? We don't stretch out enough of the good moments. Yep. We stretch out all of the traumatic moments.
And we relive it. We replay it over and over in our brain like a broken record.
Yeah, and I actually had to create a tool for that after my dad passed away. I unfortunately did find him the morning that he passed away, and I couldn't get the vision out of my head. So it's like 2 weeks in, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I told my husband, I need to create a new tool for that. So I started thinking just random things. And all of a sudden, I started thinking about the Beverly Hills Cop movie when Eddie Murphy mocks the police about we're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick. And I've done that with Pretty Woman, with Step Brothers, with different movies that you can pull segments out of. And then I realized it shifted, right? So it cleared the screen inside of my head for me having that traumatic vision. Now I'm actually focused on a movie. So music works really great for me, like a simple traumatic moment. But when it's like a really graphic moment, changing that complete screen, that movie inside of her head in entirety, that works amazing.
And I feel like those old movies, they're classics. They're raw, they're real, and they're just a good laugh.
Yes. Old movies have actually been my jam since my dad passed away. I think it's because I know so many of them so well. For a long time, my brain couldn't like focus on new information. So it was like trying to watch something new, I couldn't really comprehend it. It was like the most bizarre thing. But something like The Breakfast Club, you could just rehearse the whole dang movie in your head, so I didn't have to be completely focused on it.
And why does that happen? Like, why do we shut off current events when we're going through something traumatic?
It's just hard to focus. I used to be really good at multitasking.
Yep.
I mean, I could carry like 8 conversations on at the same time. Now I'm like, okay, wait, what was the question? It's like,
Yeah.
why is that happening to me right now? And it's just because your brain can only take up so much space. When you're really new in a loss or in a grieving type of period, your brain's doing everything it can to help you survive.
It's so true. And I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to go back to talking about NLP because I feel like most people have heard of it, but not everybody knows what that is.
NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So it's how we communicate with ourselves, how we communicate with other people, and how we've been programmed. So like 0 to 7 are our formative years, and how we learn like how to help ourselves. So it's reconnecting your subconscious mind to your conscious mind because our subconscious is recording all day. Like it knows everything. So it's a really cool way to help process through things.
How long did it take you to get certified?
It was 107 hours, and it's been extremely gratifying helping people. You know, watching people come to me, sit down with me, have a conversation, maybe being in a place of not having joy to lighting up again.
What does that process look like? What would make somebody contact you and start working with you?
Well, it can be for all different reasons. I mean, if you're looking to release grief, pain, sadness, hurt, maybe you don't want to eat carbs anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to eat sugar. You know, maybe you have, something you want to do with your eating habits. Maybe you want to quit smoking. There's so many different things that we're able to do when it comes to NLP.
And I feel like you just touched on something, emotional eating. I feel like that is another big one for women, and we don't realize how tied to that emotional piece of food we are.
Emotional eating is such a huge thing, and women in particular are so afraid to talk about it. So I've been an emotional eater since I was 8. And I always knew that it was like a thing, but I didn't really pinpoint it until after my dad passed away. And I said to my mom at Christmas time, I remember when I was a kid and like some of the beatings that were happening. And afterwards you would say, do you want some warm chocolate pudding? And I thought, Mom, I don't blame you. But it put that in me to like relate comfort to food.
And I think a lot of families do that, not even realizing it. And I feel like a holiday tradition, or you have Sunday dinner and it's like, well, now you got to have dessert, or now you have to have this. You have to have your key items. And I feel like it is kind of generational too.
Yeah, I mean, and I took it from using it as comfort to using it for celebration. If I made it through a week, this is what I celebrated with on a Friday. Because it just was all comfort. Like, you can make it through this week, and when you make it through this week, you're going to get your death by chocolate. And it was a comforting thing.
I work in functional medicine, and I do a lot with my clients to tell them to change their eating. And I feel like a lot of them struggle with that because so many women are emotional eaters. And to try to get over that mindset hump is really, really important. And I feel like it's a struggle for a lot of women.
It is, because what do you do then? What are we going to do if we don't have that comfort? So for me, it was about finding control. My comfort is now in my control, telling myself no, you don't need it, cutting myself off at a certain time of the day, moving my body more, and rewarding myself with showing people. I'm currently 67 days into my health journey. I've released 15 pounds. Should be more than that, in my opinion, but I've been sick since the end of June, so it really slowed me down. But I have stayed at the released weight of 15 pounds because the eating habit has changed. That's a reward to myself. That's showing myself you have control. That's where your power is. You don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to use it as a crutch. You don't have to use it as an excuse. Now you have different tools to reward yourself with. Like buying myself something because I released the 15 pounds. Or when I get to this amount of weight released, I'm buying myself the Ninja ice cream maker. I mean, that's exciting.
Yeah.
You know, because it's something that still helps me with the health journey, but it feels like a little reward for me.
And I feel like eating healthy doesn't have to be restrictive either. There's so many things you can do. And I feel like now there's so many recipes out there that it makes it so easy to adjust your diet and eat better, but not you're losing out.
Yeah, and honestly, for me, it's been about simplicity, because all of the other times that I've tried, because this is not my first rodeo, I'm actually doing Mission 87. Mission 87 is my mission to release 2 pounds 87 times, because I have allowed myself to get that far away from a healthy living lifestyle because of the way that I comforted myself incorrectly through all of the trauma, just the years of the trauma. And now I'm taking control of it. And it's funny because when I first started talking about it on my socials, people were like, Mission 87, what does that mean? Because it's your 87th time trying. And I thought that is so relatable. Because
Yep,
how
it
many
is.
times we're like, oh, time 514 that I'm jumping back on the wagon. You know, and I thought, man, that's so cool. Because it just, even if that was it, even if it wasn't the mission with the 2 pounds, even if it was Mission 87, because this is my 87th time, that's what made it relatable to people. That taking accountability, I'm sharing my workouts, I'm sharing my food, I'm sharing the board that I have in my office with 2s drawn on it 87 times. So I can start crossing them off with positive affirmations on there for myself. It's taking accountability for me and what I can do for me and relying on myself. Everybody else's support around me is great, but that self-love journey, when you start taking accountability for your own self, for your own life, the way that that overflows to everybody else around you and they all benefit from it is amazing.
And self-love is huge. Most of us don't give ourselves enough love.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard one, especially for women. I always say that because we feel like, well, if I take care of myself, I got to be a wife, I got to be a mom, I got to be a grandma, an auntie, a business owner, a follower of Christ. I have to do all of these things, a friend. Yeah, guess what? You can do all of those things and better when you're on a self-love journey. Because when you're loving yourself, you go from, I have to do this, I have to volunteer, I have to watch my grandbabies, I have to do this too, I get to.
Yeah.
I get to volunteer. I get to watch my grandbabies. I get to go to this event, because you're doing it from a place of not where you're feeling like, oh, it's another thing. I'm so internally exhausted, but nobody knows that, right? Because we have our Superwoman cape on, which is actually one of my NLP programs that I do during my trauma workshop experience, where we take it off. Take it off. And we don't throw it away or burn it. We actually fold it up and put it away in a drawer, because that's still a part of us. That's part of what kept us safe for a long time. So it's not something that we want to get rid of, but we do need to take it off, because we're not fooling anybody. We think that we're so good at hiding this stuff. People can see the bags under our eyes.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how good your concealer is, friend. People can see the wrinkles happening. They can see the tiredness. They can see the agitation. You're more quick to respond to things in kind of like a bitchier way, because you're just, oh, and people are like, oh yeah, Samantha needs to kind of like take off a little bit, because she's kind of, well, you know that's what people are saying.
Are you reading my mind?
Yeah, my team in
Every
corporate
time you're
America,
talking, I'm like, wow, I do all those things.
I know, because, and it's a natural response. It's a natural thing, because we think that's what we have to do.
Yep.
You know, because society has programmed to make us believe men are the hard workers that carry the heavy things, and women carry everything else.
Yep.
And that's bullshit. That's not right. That's not how it's supposed to go. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or not, whoever your partner is, if it's a friend, if it's a relationable partnership, everything is 100, 100. If we're friends, I'm going to do 100% of the things to make sure you're happy, and you should be doing 100% to make me happy. How is anybody unhappy then? Same thing in a relationship. If I'm giving him 100 and he's giving me 100, who's mad? Because you're satisfied because you're getting what you need. I'm satisfied because I'm getting what I need, but then we're happy because we're helping each other. But people don't realize that until they start to love themselves, what they are worthy of and what they deserve.
I love that about relationships. And I feel like most women, especially as we get older, a lot of married women, they complain instead of giving that 100%. It's like, oh, well, he does this and he does that. And I feel like a lot of women are negative around relationships instead of trying to step up and give back to their relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like an age thing too. And to be honest, my husband and I have been together for 27 years this month.
Wow.
In February, we'll be married for 22. Like, it's been a long time, girl.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yes.
But that's the thing. It's a lot of work. Like, some of my friends will be like, oh my gosh, Erica's like the nicest guy I've ever met in my life. And I have to say, do you think he came out of the box like that? They don't. The majority of them have to be taught how to love you the way that you need to be loved. Just like you need to be taught how to love him the way that he needs to be loved. My husband was a mama's boy. Because we had to work on that. Because we're not doing that. I cannot nurture you in every single part of your life because of the things that I've gone through in my life.
Yeah.
My one missing piece was being nurtured, and now I'm nurturing you, and now he's 53 years old. Like, come on, we're not doing that anymore. That's foolish. But he's been a great support system in my life, and I've been a great support system in his life.
Yeah.
That being a pillar for your partner in your relationship and learning to give a little bit. Like, if Eric wants to go fishing, regardless of what your past may look like or what happened in previous relationships, you can't hold this guy's feet to the fire for the rest of his life because of something that happened in 1912. Like, it just doesn't make sense. If these women who stay in relationships in particular with this, I will forgive you for what you did, and then they still bring it up over and over and over, it's torturous. It's torturous to everybody. Like, I have bugaboos. Don't put your hands on me and don't cheat on me, and then we're fine. We'll make it through everything else. Because I know me. I know that if my husband ever went outside of our marriage, I would be the lady on her deathbed saying, you remember what you did in 1999? Like, I know that I wouldn't be able to let it go, so why torture us both? So if you have your limitations, make them known. And then stick to it. Don't be like a woman that I have in my life that I love dearly, dearly, and her partners have 39 affairs. Why would he stop? We just taught him how to treat you by what you've allowed.
And that's the other thing. Women do allow a lot of bad behaviors because we're not strong enough.
Yeah, that strength piece, again, it's always going to come with self-love, because if you love yourself, you're not going to allow anybody to disrespect you. It doesn't matter if it's your partner, if it's your children, if it's your friends. My best friend is no longer my best friend. She was left in 2025 because she couldn't come along for the growth journey that I'm on, and she kept doing the things that I asked her not to do. It was a 3 strikes and you're out for me. Like, now she doesn't fit into my life anymore. And it's unfortunate because I have love for her, and I'll always have love for her. We knew each other for 30 years. But if you can't support me where I'm going, and these are simple things, don't bring up trauma, don't agitate the healing that I'm doing, be supportive of it. And if you can't do that, where do you fit into my life? But that's a boundary. Setting boundaries are hard for people.
Yes, they really are. I struggle with that myself.
it's one of the best things that you can do. Like, I promise that if you practice it, now that I'm 13 months into what I'm doing, I am excited for a challenge. Ask me anything. And even if I know that I'm going to do it, I'm still going to tell you, that sounds really great, but let me think about it and I'll get back to you. Right? Because even though I know that I'm going to do it, I'm training my brain that I don't always have to say yes. That was me. Like, yes. Oh, you need this? You want money? Yes. You need to get picked up? Yes. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You need help? Yes, absolutely. You want me to watch your babies and your dogs and your life and clean your house and do everything? Yes. Okay. Who is that exactly helping? Sure as heck not me. I mean, when you're spreading that out and you're doing that for everybody, yeah, it's nice to be like, oh, well, when you go to Darcie, she does everything. is that really a compliment though? Is that really something that you should be proud of? I mean, because now you're kind of being taken advantage of. It's not really a flex when people are like, yeah, ask her. She always does it.
A no is a complete sentence.
Yeah, and that is such a big one. I love it. Now I don't know anybody an explanation for anything.
I want to shift gears one more time. What is one thing our listeners can start implementing today?
Well, I would sit down for, a couple of minutes and just really take a little bit of a look into your life. What do you think your missing piece is? Like if I were to hand you a platter and it had a whole bunch of things from your life on it, what's the first thing you would grab for? Would it be peace? Would it be joy? Would it be comfort? What would it be? And whatever that is, hone in on that first. What does that look like for you? So for me, when I figured out what my missing component was, it was nurturing. Now I have no problem telling my husband, I don't even want the queen treatment. Treat me like a princess. Bring me my blanket and like my favorite tea and put on like a good movie and just let me chill and be in my moment, because I didn't get that. I didn't get that when I was a kid. I didn't get that my whole life. I was responsible for everything. So find your missing component and fix that before you move on to something else. And once you fix that first missing component, you're going to see the power and the strength that you have. And then you're going to start getting excited. That's where I am right now in my physical journey on Mission 87. I was like, I got myself right emotionally and mentally. I can do physically. I can do it because I saw what I was able to do. When you can see what you're able to do for yourself, you're going to become unstoppable.
And I feel like that piece carries us, like that childhood piece that we're missing carries us into adulthood. And then when we hit that 30, 40, 50-year-old self, it starts to come back and it starts to reactivate.
Yeah, well, because there's different layers of life. Like my 20s was what I would have classified as fun. Let's party, let's have a good time. I've always wanted to go to Paris. I have not been there yet, and I think, well, God prevented that, right? Because if I would have went to Paris in my 20s, I probably would have been the person that didn't remember it. I probably would have threw up outside the Eiffel Tower. It wouldn't have been a good memory for me. If I would have went in my 30s, I was aggressive in my 30s. It was goal orientation, make it to the top of the company, craving and desiring the atta girl, the good job we're building. I got to my 40s and I was like, I don't give two shits about what anybody thinks anymore. I do not care. Like my level of wanting to be happy in my life is at the highest point that it's ever been. I don't need to compare myself to anybody else's journey. I know my journey. I know my self-worth. I know what I've gone through in my life, how hard I have fought to get to here. I used to say I wish I could go back to life on October 2nd, 2019 before my dad was shot. I just wish I could go back because everything was so like perfect in that moment. And now that I'm here, I'm like, no, I don't. Because this healed version of me is a woman I've never met before. And I really like her. Like I really like her. And I'm really excited for who she's becoming. So when you're really working on that, you start to see these different parts of you coming together. And as we get older, you do start to care less about what other people are thinking because you start to see that whole first act of your life is gone already. Yeah. Let's not focus so much on what everybody else is doing and what their desires are. Focus on your own because we never know when, it's our time.
I love that. And I love the way you describe 20s, 30s, 40s, because I feel like in 20s, you were like, yeah, let's party. 30s were like, oh yeah, I'm going to hit the career path really hard. And then 40, you're like, forget it. I don't care.
Whatever.
No, that's awesome. Darcie, how can everybody find you? Where are you on social media? What's your website?
So my website is darcieburtch.com. You can find everything there, every platform that I'm on. You can find the podcast. You can apply to be a guest on the podcast. You can apply for the weekly or the monthly newsletter. You can also get an NLP session scheduled right there at that same spot.
I will put those links in the show notes so that way they can click and connect with you.
Very cool.
Is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with before we close today?
I mean, one of my favorite verses from the Bible is Exodus 14:14, and it basically is telling you to just leave everything in the Lord's hands and he will provide and do. So start your self-love journey. Know that you're worth it. Don't ever give up on yourself. The grass is not always greener where you water it, but it is greener where you can replant it. Yeah. So replant yourself in a different place, and I hope you bloom.
I love that. Darcie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening. Today we had on our special guest, Darcie Burtch. We talked about trauma, utilizing tools to learn how to start to heal from your trauma and your past. What is NLP and the importance of self-love? Please check the show notes to connect with Darcie. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday to episode 42. I will be back doing a solo episode. I've had 4 guests in a row basically saying the same thing to me in different words, and I don't think that's a coincidence. And always remember, you deserve to love the skin you're in. As estheticians, we have such a unique opportunity to not only care for the skin on the surface, but to guide our clients towards deeper wellness. If this episode gave you something to think about, share it with me on Instagram @SkinDeepIL. I look forward to connecting with you there. And if you enjoyed this conversation, subscribing and reviewing the podcast helps others find these conversations too. And always remember, you deserve to love the skin you're in.